It's a pleasure to be with you again on the program, The Economy Today. And of course, it runs on this special note, and it runs at this station that is known as King Adewale Film and Theatre Arts Network, that is Kaftan Television. Well, today we want to discuss business funding in particular, but in a different way, because we're getting someone that would help us. We want to look at this guest's way, how it started, this guest's business, and then from there we'll find out how someone else that is about to do such a thing and thinking of what to do will be able to start, and how the progress will be. Okechukwu Onubogu here, and the guest I have will be discussing a topic, and the topic she'll be discussing with me is business funding, and we're talking about guidelines for beginners. And so I have Bukola Oyale. Bukola happens to be an entrepreneur. Bukola, good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okechukwu.
Okechukwu, yes. It's a pleasure to have you, really, because it's good to see ladies from your gender, people from your gender coming to talk about their businesses and how they can be of assistance to others and to help them grow. And so we want to start, first of all, what kind of business do you do?
Okay, I am the founder of Ivy Skincare, a brand that helps women of color deal with hyperpigmentation on their skin. Okay.
And now, looking at what you do, that is skincare, okay?
Yes, sir.
I just want to, on a funny note, I want to say, I hope it's not the one that makes people change their color.
No.
It's not.
No,
okay.
Yes, we actually we're focused on providing solution, particularly to women of color, because due to my personal experiences, we found it really hard to get products that will manage hyperpigmentation on the skin without actually changing our color. So that was what led you to the brand.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because sometimes some people, I know so many males, people in my gender will say, is it they want to show us how to show our wives how to change the color of their skins? It's good. Now, you've been in this for a while. Can you tell us for how long you've done this? And I also want to know, how has it gone? I mean, tell us the story from the early years, how it went, because we want to find out how easy or how difficult it is and how possible it can be for someone watching at a time like this, funding wise.
Yes, having a business is a very interesting journey, especially for us women in Africa. And I started Ivy Skincare in the year 2019.
That's
most of the funds I got was from family and friends. Yes, that's how I was able to raise funds to start the brand. But over the years, I know, as at that point, your business tells you that it's time to scale. Like, you just don't want to do the regular small scale where you're selling. You really want your brand to be out there to impact more lives. That's when you know that you actually need more fundings. Some of these fundings are the kind of amount you need. You might not be able to raise that from the business alone or from family and friends alone. That is where you might need either a grant, a loan, and an investor, and so many other options. Now,
before you go to that side, I want to ask again, that early stage, at that beginning, what is it like? And were you able to start at that early stage with the fund from your bank account or from your purse or from the one you have at home?
Okay, like I stated earlier, from family and friends. But because of that, because of the funds from family and friends, we were a bit limited. We could only produce a limited amount of products. And we had a very tight marketing budget. And marketing is basically the lifeline of every business.
Every business.
So it was not a rosy period. But you know, when you have a vision for something, you just know that you just have to keep it going. And sometimes it's when you start that you actually know that everything becomes a clearer picture for you.
Yeah.
So I think that 2019, COVID, that was the period COVID
was
hit
about to come.
yes, COVID hits very well in 2020.
Yes.
So it was another period that also took me aback in the business.
Okay.
And we had just about 2-3 staffers at that time, and then COVID hit, so we're not making as much sales as we planned to, and we're no longer coming out. Everybody was indoors. So it was not a very easy period for a small business that had just started, because with the little money we had stock, but now everything we had locked up because of that. Yes. So it was the first 2 years was not really an easy ride. It wasn't easy at all, especially when it comes to funding the business.
So again, being on the funding side, I could say that you had to calm down because because of lockdown. You had to calm down because of lockdown.
You had to calm exactly.
You had to calm down.
All our products were locked up in the warehouse, so there was no way you could even recover your costs. Talk more of your profit.
Okay, I just tried to quote a Nigerian artist that asked me to calm down,
calm down
because of the body was getting them what the lockdown was doing. Okay, now looking at it, you've gone on, moved ahead with it. How did you manage it, and how did you come out from that lockdown session?
With the few years I had after the old lockdowns, we now decided to be a solution-based brand.
Okay.
We didn't just want to be like every other brand in the market. So yes, we did a rebrand, and we had to let our customers, the ones we already had, know that okay, now we're focusing on providing solutions. And then I still had to fall back to family and friends and the business to get extra money funding to push the brand.
Okay.
Yes. To market the brand, because these people will only buy if they see it and if they know that yes, this is available
and it is consistent.
And it is consistent. So that was one other thing that helped us post COVID. I think that was when I started thinking about getting investors and getting funding. So
that is the second stage. Yes. Now that getting investors, normally when we talk about it, it will look as though it's just so easy or so simple, but I know it's not an easy thing. So I will want to go back. I will want to come to it, how to get investors and how you got investors after thinking how you took, what action you took and what it led to. But before you tell me that, we will need to take news that one will refer to as our business news. And after that, we'll return here and continue. Okay, let's go on now. Returning to your story. How did it go? How was it? Were you able to go on to do that funding?
Okay, so I started the process of getting funds for the business so we could scale, although we didn't later pull through with the contract. But it was a very interesting ride, and it's something that if any startup, especially those in Africa, would want to, it's something I will encourage them to try. And then they should.
Would you let us into it? Let's get to know.
Yeah, so basically we've already started operating. So we had all our documentation, which is registration. We had our customer base. We've tested the markets. These are very important if you're going to get get funding for your business, because you have to be sure that this product is needed. So first of all, before you have to have done a market analysis, test the product in the market. Also, make sure that all your businesses are registered. Nobody will want to work with a business that has not been registered. That has not been registered, and you don't have all the proper documentation. Then you have to develop your business plan, stating clearly your financial analysis. Because if I'm putting money in a business, I want to know how you plan to spend this money and how we plan to make profit from this investment that we're making. And then you create your pitch deck. Your pitch deck is very important. You have to.
Please pardon me if I will ask, what would you mean by pitch deck?
Okay, so basically your pitch deck should contain the problem you're trying to solve, your solution, your target market, and then basically your team and your financials. So it should be very detailed. Like I should know what your problem is, what problem your product is solving, your financial market, how you're going to make money in the long term.
Out of it.
Yes, and you have to know your market. You have to know who you are targeting. So these things has to be contained so that your wherever you're getting your funding from, either a grant or a loan, and you're presenting this thing, they will know, okay, fine, this is actually going to work.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it. Now tell us, continue the story.
Okay. So, and then I think one other thing is you have to network. You have to go out there, network, and research on various organizations that are funding businesses in Africa. There are so many organizations that are willing to put money into Africa, but we are probably not getting all the right documents and taking all the right steps. Sometimes we do not have the right team, and that will limit you from getting fundings. You don't have proper data or your customers' data. That is very important. So you know you already have a consistent source or returning customers for your brand. And sometimes we do not have like an exit plan. We have to, the investors have to know that if anything happens, because, you know, in Africa, I think about 95% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. So they have to be sure that if anything happens to this business, how do we recover the money we've put into? So that's some of the challenges that limit small businesses from getting fundings. But if we can have this in place, we can work towards this, then it will be easier for small businesses. And some of them are actually scared of even trying to taking that step to getting funding. But it's something that if you research upon, you get the whole process on how to get it.
Okay, thank you. Now you're talking because of the fact that you've already gone through this and you've seen it all.
Yes.
Though there was something you said at the beginning. You said that though you didn't eventually get that particular one, but you went on. How about that?
Okay, why I didn't go for that particular funding was because I was lucky to now get more fundings from family and friends.
Wow.
Yes, so I just felt like there was no need to just bring in too much money into the business when I had my family and friends supporting already. So that's why I didn't go through it. But yes, I had applied for fundings through Bank of Industry as well. Then the other ones I applied for that I still didn't, like to the Lumelu Foundation. Yes, those ones, they really help small startups. And there are other foreign ones that are focused in Africa as well that others people can try.
Okay. And seeing that you eventually got this funding from your local source, that is family and friends, what you're saying here shows that you went on to practice what you would have practiced if you had gotten that loan. Is that not so?
Exactly.
So that means that as you did it, it helped you to continue. You were working as though, oh, look, I got this loan from the bank, and I need to make sure that everything works out so that I can return the loan. Something like that. Is that
exactly?
Can we just discuss that a bit more?
So when you are running a business, you just have to invest in yourself and be prepared. So either you're getting the funds from your family and friends or from an investor, you have to put in the work for that business to survive. Business is about consistency. And one thing that I like that I had to source for funding was I have the experience, I have that knowledge now on how to go about looking for funds for my business. And most of these ideas and everything I learned basically was through my phone. I would just Google companies that are investing in small businesses in Africa, and I already had most of my documentation and I will apply. But that knowledge is not wasted. It's something that I learned. And because I already had my pitch deck, my financial analysis ready, so when I got that funding from my family and friends, I was still able to make sure that I implemented those things as promised to my investor, because yes, even if it's coming from the people that are closest to me, does not mean that I should not waste it. I should waste it, exactly.
Now, you said when you started, you had just about 3 people as staff and all that. Growth is something that is beautiful. So we want to know how far you have grown from then up to now. But before you tell us how far you've grown, we also have something else, and that is news bits that we normally share from here. And this time we'll try to combine, we'll get the news bits, and we also discuss some terms, financial terms, like talking about the stock exchange and all that. So we'll try and see how we'll get these things on. Then we'll return and we'll hear the last part of our discussion and we'll conclude.
The president of Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, asked President Bola Tinubu to include refined petroleum products in the list of items banned under the Nigeria First policy of the federal government. But this was unanimously rejected by oil marketers and some industry analysts. The Nigeria First policy seeks to ban government agencies from importing goods that can be produced within Nigeria. In May, Tinubu barred government agencies from importing goods or services that are available locally. The policy stated that no procurement of foreign goods or services already available in Nigeria shall proceed without justification and a Bureau of Public Procurement waiver. Speaking at the just concluded Global Commodity Insights Conference on West Africa refined fuel markets hosted by the Nigerian Mainstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority in partnership with S&P Global Insights, Dangote requested in clear terms that petrol, diesel and other refined petroleum products be added to the items banned by the policy. According to him, the importation of fuel into Nigeria is killing local refining and discouraging further investments in the sector and even the economy. To remain viable, he urged governments across Africa to take deliberate steps as the United States, Canada and the European Union have done to protect domestic producers from what he called unfair competition. The Nigeria First policy, announced by His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, should apply to the petroleum product sector and all other sectors, he stated. This request by Dangote seeks to place a ban on the importation of petrol, diesel and other products being produced locally. He argued that local refiners were finding it difficult to sell their products because of what he called dumping. The billionaire businessman alleged that importers were dumping toxic fuel that would never be allowed in Europe. And to make matters worse, we are now facing increased dumping of cheap, often toxic petroleum products, some of which are blended to substandard levels that would never be allowed in Europe or North America, he said. Due to the price caps on the Russian petroleum products, discounted petroleum products produced in Russia or with discounted Russian crude find their way to Africa, severely undercutting our local production, which is based on full crude pricing. This has created an unlevel playing field in most African countries. Petrol and diesel are sold for about $1 net of taxes. In Nigeria, due to this unfair competition, this price is just about 60 cents, even cheaper than Saudi Arabia, which produces and refines its own oil. This is due to the fact that we are having too much dumping. To remain viable, we urge the governments across Africa to take deliberate steps as the United States, Canada and the European Union have done to protect domestic producers from unfair competition, he stated. Nigeria's newly rebased gross domestic product (GDP) has sparked debates among economists and policy experts, with several prominent analysts arguing that the country's economic size is significantly understated. While the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) puts the 2024 rebased GDP at approximately $250 billion, analysts estimated that the true figure could exceed $350 billion, citing inconsistencies in data methodology, exchange rate application and underreported sectors such as digital services and agriculture. The NBS recently concluded its long-anticipated GDP rebasing exercise, updating its reference year from 2010 to 2019. The rebasing revised Nigeria's GDP to 205 trillion naira, which translates to roughly $250 billion at current exchange rates. The new base year is intended to better capture emerging sectors of the economy and reflect structural changes, including the rise of e-commerce, fintech, and creative industries. However, some experts argue that the recalculated GDP underrepresents Nigeria's actual economic size. I strongly believe this economy's GDP is higher than what has been published, said Chief Economics and Partner SPM Professionals, Dr. Bukola Oyale, a global economic consultant and public finance expert. If you're rebasing for 2024, you must use the average exchange rate of that year. Applying the 2025 exchange rate to previous outputs is inaccurate. That alone reduces the dollar value significantly. Oyale also questioned the methodology used by the NBS, suggesting a review to align calculations with internationally accepted standards. The GDP should be north of $350 billion, not the $250 billion being reported. This is not a small discrepancy. It affects our global economic positioning, creditworthiness, investment flows, and how multilateral bodies categorize us, he added. Critics of the GDP figures also highlight agriculture, long touted as Nigeria's lifeline, as an area of massive underutilized potential. Despite contributing over 23% of the economy, the sector recorded a mere 0.07% growth in the first quarter of 2025, following the GDP rebasing.
Oh, yes. Thank you for being there still for us and seeing all that has gone on. We've seen some stages. We've moved from the first to the second, third, and fourth. And now we are on the fifth stage, which is the final, where we'll be thinking of discussing and concluding, rounding off what we've got. So we want to look at the business we're still talking about business funding. How far can someone who wants to get into business go to get funding? And there are things or places we've been told we could lay hands on some funds from. I know that my guest, Bukola Oyale, has also mentioned some of them, talking about going to the bank, like Bank of Industry, looking for some banks outside, some companies and establishments, organizations outside Africa that are interested in funding startups in Africa. Apart from that, there is also the one she mentioned, family and friends. Am I correct, Buki?
Yes, you are.
All right. Now, looking at all that, you had your staff strength. You have grown. Tell us more about that side.
Okay, over the years, we've been able to start up our own factory for production. And
that's
like
great.
I said,
that's great.
You have to meet up with all the regulations. We have our NAFDAC registration numbers, and now we have a distributor team that distributes to some of the supermarkets here in Abuja, and we hope to expand across Africa over the years. We started, for the first year, it was just me and one person. 2022, we had about me and 3 others. But so now we have about me and 10 other staffs.
That's great.
Yes,
you have you and 10 other staff.
Yes, sir.
That's great. We need to applaud you for this one. It's not an easy thing.
Yes,
in these times that you are paying salary to all these number of people. Mentioning the fact that the expansion has grown to this level, while talking about that, you said you got NAFDAC registration.
Yes, sir.
Can you put us through the process of getting the registration for my dear viewer that is watching and wants to do something that will be seen as registered, and how long can it take, or did it take you to get that done, and what are the difficulties involved so that they can learn?
Okay, the NAFDAC registration process for me was very seamless. Before I started, I just knew I needed to register my brand to get everything. I had this fear because, I don't know, there's this thing you just hear when you're in the industry that getting NAFDAC for your product is so difficult. It's so difficult.
I keep hearing it too.
Yeah, that was what I heard at first. But that day I just decided I just carried my bag and I went straight to the head office, and I was like, I want to register my product. And they were very welcoming. They guided me through all the procedures. They guided me on the layouts that my factory should be, all the machines that must be in place. They just made sure that you would just have everything in place. Just, and all your machines, purification of water. Once everything is in place, they will come for inspection. You do your payments through their portal, and you can even log in and see the various stages in which your process is going through, because they'll keep on updating it till you get to the final process. Yes, it will take a couple of months, but the interesting thing is when they come for factory inspection, they will update it that factory inspection has been done. When they take your product for testing, when any product that has been approved, they will update it that this product was approved for testing. If you have anything that they don't like, they will reject it. The process was, yes, it was a long ride, but I was really impressed.
Looking at the fact that you said if you have anything they don't like, they reject it. Does that mean that if there is something that has been included, that is in your process or production, that is not good for health, they can say this should not be here, and so they give you an opportunity to move it and look for a replacement. And then you return for them to look at it again.
Start that process again. And start the process for the particular product, because you have to go back, remodify the product if you can modify the product. If not, it will be removed, because basically their agencies to make sure that bad products are not in the market, anything that will affect our health. And it was really beautiful that I went through that process with them. They made it seamless. You have everything on your dashboards to go through it, and you already have all the guidelines and everything that should not be included in any product. So it was a great experience with NAFDAC.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling us this. And now, the one you may refer to, no, I wouldn't want to refer to it as that, but then let's go on. After the inspection and all that, you now got your registration done. So like that the product you have has NAFDAC number.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is that not?
Yes, sir.
Because that's what people always say. Does it have NAFDAC?
It's very important that the products you use are NAFDAC registered. Because when I went through the process myself, I know that, okay, this regulatory body is really making sure that nothing that affects our health is out there. So then I know that, okay, any product in the market that has not been registered, I try to avoid it.
Okay. Yes, so that's an eye-opener too for someone that hasn't known much about that. So you start getting to know much more and start working towards a lot more. Okay. After the registration, I want to look at the marketing. Was it so easy also? Was it seamless for you to do the marketing in Nigeria, considering the way things are in this country?
Okay, one thing about Nigeria, putting your products in stores is never an easy process. But one thing that made it a bit easy for us was demand. Our customers were demanding, and we make sure that once our product is in a store, we'll inform our customers in that location that it's in that store, so they don't have to pay delivery fee. And then when they saw that our product had all the legal registrations, documentation, everything, it was easier for them to accept those products from us. But so far, we've just been able to hit few stores, and in the next coming years, we hope to be able to hit the larger market. Yes, breaking into the market, it's never easy, but it's that's the entrepreneurship journey for us. It's a long and difficult ride, but we enjoy it.
Okay, okay. Well, of course, there is normally the registration, which is part of the earlier thing you mentioned. That's that registration. Is it with the Corporate Affairs Commission or something like that?
Yes, you start with your CAC, get your bank account, your TIN, and any other regulatory body for your industry.
Yeah, so because each industry has its own regulatory body.
So for your own industry, ensure that you meet up with everything that is expected.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much. I have just, let me use the word, exhausted the basic things I would want dear viewer to know. But there could be more. Is there anything else you would want to tell? In fact, what are your words of advice to someone that is, use the word, a startup, that we may not have touched here, so that they can know? Or you can just look at your viewer and tell that viewer that in the next 2-3 minutes, what it all entails and how easy or difficult it could be, and that it is either surmountable or insurmountable. Tell.
Okay. Starting a business, especially in Africa, is never an easy journey. We still have a long way to go when it comes to accessing funds and then pushing our brands. So, but one thing I'm going to encourage every entrepreneur when you're starting your business is to understand that you have to market your business. You have to be very consistent with your business. One thing is your marketing. You push your product out there to the people that needs to see it. A product that is not out there will not sell. And basically just be consistent with your brand. It's never an easy journey. You can take a break sometimes, but one thing is make sure that you keep on pushing your brand. Thank you.
Well, you've heard that, dear viewer, and that's how we'll be rounding up. We want to thank you so much for being here on the program, being our guest on the program today. Bukola Oyale, thank you so much. Entrepreneur, manufacturer, really. It's a good thing to have you on the program today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for brightening our corner today.
Thank you, sir.
Right. And please do remember, I want to let you know that people don't come to this program once. So be there for us when we call you again.
All right, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's how we'll be rounding off the program today. And I've had this entrepreneur, a manufacturer of a business health line. What did you call it again?
Rivy Skincare.
Yeah, the skincare line. Well, he's been here with us and we enjoyed a bit of it. Thank you so much for being there for us too. And let me say thanks to Ihanyu Goji, also thanks to Kayode Pamileri, as well as Samuel Nwankwo and Timothy Yobona. Want to thank everyone else that has been here doing one thing or the other. And of course, it's always been a pleasure sharing the moments with you. Thank you so much. I want to thank the others that I will not be able to mention their names. You will see their names. And we want to say thank you to all of them. Till we meet again next time on this program, it's Okechukwu Onubogu here. And what do I say? May the best happen to us all the time.